Welcome, A Train, all aboard, tourism fans, to A Train, all aboard, tourism with Omnius Prime. Episode 3, The Art of Scenario Design. Is this the scenario you're looking for? Yeah, look at this. Looks like a nice setup here. I've got 3 stations here that have 8 platforms each running through here. And this is what I wanted. I wanted something that would be some fun to play with and to build up. I just did not like the canned scenarios. The Resort Reborn was the only one that I really liked. As you can see, I've got a bullet train, an airport, and the Fort Ord Central train station here with a couple of stadiums. And as you can see, I've decided to, use a little bit of flavor here. Lakers, Dodgers. So obviously, I'm a California boy, and I love my LA sports teams. Let's go over here. Oh, look, and there's the boat. There's the boat, the passenger ship terminal. So yes, you can build this passenger ship terminal, and it will connect from Monterey. Let's just watch this boat sail. Now he's going to come sailing out, and then he'll come under the bridge right near the edge here. And yeah, I decided, because of San Francisco and stuff, I thought I put in some really big bridges here, some road bridges. So I built one here, and then I built one over on the other side. But as you can see, this is this is a hypothetical map of Monterey County. Okay. And no, not all of the cities on the map are in Monterey County. But I just wanted to make some fun, and make it kind of like Monterey without, trying to be historically accurate. Putting in different things that, like my favorite donut shop, Red's Donuts. Yeah. Now, over here, I have Seaside. And this is kind of an industrial town, as you can see. But here, this is the trade port area. I wanted to show you some of this stuff while I've got it, fully fleshed out, so you can see how I did it. Now you have a trade port here, and I made sure that you had to build the trade port early in the first year. Because if it starts building these little seawalls out across the area where the port's supposed to go, can't build the port. So that was why I rushed the port construction. But you have a nice big material factory here. It's not yours. A little train station, freight trains. And we have some agriculture warehouses, some fish warehouses, and material storage. Okay, there's also room for 3 truck stops to move stuff around. And there goes the fish. Now over here we have the Salinas lettuce train station. Salinas is the lettuce capital of the world. It's also the salad bowl of the world. Our farmers grow all year round. We just have great weather. Goldilocks weather. Not too hot, not too cold. Just right. Okay, so that was the Salinas lettuce. Let me pop down here and show you. This is the Bell material, and I've been having fun, naming train stations, trying to come up with all kinds of local names, and like City of Industry here. It's a city that's actually in Los Angeles, and it's kind of near Bell, a few miles away. But I'm just trying to have fun giving some local flavor here as I'm, making up my map. So what we have here is the big material factory. There's also another one, a small one here, And I didn't plan it out originally, but I ended up buying 3 tiles so that I could place material storage here for a little extra material storage. Um, Now let's come over here and we'll go here. Here we have Turlock and got room for some agriculture warehouses, the 3 bus stop, and as you can see, this has 3 agriculture cooperatives feeding into the warehouses. Salinas has 4. Now, since I'm here, I wanted to show you something that was something that I learned belatedly after kind of laying things out. One of the first things I made on this map was a big ski resort. The ski resort, and there were 3 different types of additions for the ski resort. But what I ended up doing was getting rid of the ski resort. Whoops, let's do this. And we'll sell. Now, whoops, let's go here to what about here? So now I can pick up 700 million, and it says that I've got a $450 million loss. Okay? Now, as you can see, what happened is you see how that those things had rows. Now, after I sell it, it went back to nice flat ground again. Now, Desolation Wilderness is just south of Lake Tahoe. Wonderful hiking area. Beautiful. And, of course, near Yosemite. But yeah, the ski resort, it pops into the top 4 tourist attractions areas, and it's only active 5 weeks a year, when it snows. So 47 weeks a year, it's worthless. So basically, what I ended up doing is my solution was to just early on delete the ski resort and start building some other stuff here to build up land value before I sell the land. Now, let's just come back here real quick, and as you can see, I have 62 trains. I'm going to make it 63 real quick, just to have a little bit of fun. What I did is I created a big maze. And you can see I got all kinds of different lines running. Now, if I place this train right here, and we go into the operating schedule and route, we can now see that this starts in Carmel Plaza, runs through Fort Ord Central, and then goes back out near Carmel Plaza right out to Los Gatos. So each train has a unique route. So where are we at? There we are. And if I withdraw him, now let me see. I want to look at this route here. I think this is what I call the Crazy 8 route. Okay? So you can see here, this will start out in San Francisco up north, go through Seaside, come up and around, down through part of Salinas, come up part of Fort Ord, to Fort Ord Central. Then it's going to come back down and around through another part of Fort Ord, what I call West Fort Ord, and run through by Carmel. Okay, so it'll come up through here. And then it runs around through, whoops, these trains and stuff. So had lots of fun. See, like here, this train you can see the route goes down into a tunnel. It'll come back up here and connect up to the Big Sur train station. This was, so I had a lot of fun just kind of like visualizing where I would have trains running and making routes and stuff. And whoops. And what I should do is let's just withdraw the guy so he doesn't mess anything up. So basically, I wanted something where I could place some trains, where I could have, like 8 platforms of trains for train stations and stuff. And when these things are whizzing around, it looks pretty cool. And as you can see, the whoopsie, let's come back over that way. And you can see that we have plenty of tourist flow too. So let me move on to now the next part, which is going to be how did I create the scenario, and how did I use the scenario editor. Here we are, and as you can see, this is my test bed map. I had a basic idea of what I wanted to do, but what I needed to do before I really started creating a map was kind of create a test bed and kind of build things to kind of see how things would work and fit and stuff, okay? So you can see kind of like this is the basic layout, the Dennis Menace Park with the golf course and the soccer stadium with an aquarium very close together. I think I made a little station right here, okay? But this was my test bed. I wanted to see how things were going to fit. Now, as you can see, at first I tried to do this kind of like big combined, almost an L-shaped kind of thing for like Monterey and Carmel, and I didn't like the curved thing because it would just kind of really screw things up. But what I was trying to do was figure out spacing and stuff. Okay, so I finally settled on 13 spaces between highways. Although I think of these as avenues instead of highways. You can see here I was starting to try to think out the mall thing. Okay, although what I didn't do was put in the addition, but I was starting to think, how am I going to fit the mall in with the roads, and then the mall has its own kind of like connection to the road, so I had to really think about how I wanted to do that. It gave me a chance to build some of these really big buildings and just get an idea of how much space they were going to take, and some of the like government buildings, like that's a general hospital. Okay. So this was a test bed. I just wanted to kind of get some ideas. The one thing, and here's the big race course. I needed to see how big was the race course. Then I came down here. At first, as you can see, I was doing the bullet train on flat ground. But yeah, I realized that's not going to work, and I needed to. I couldn't run roads over the rail tracks. I had to run them under. And then here's the space for the airport, as you can see. And originally I was thinking of Grand Central, like as in New York City, the Grand Central station, but this is California, so I decided to keep it more local and went with Fort Ord Central for the central train station name. But this was you can see I'm looking at various kind of, there's the university, a school 2 and a school 1, the wholesale market, just trying to find out how big they were and stuff. But the most important thing that it taught me is if you look at the estimated land value of 57 million, starts out around, and here's 105. And then it goes up to 76 here. There's 83, only 39, 47. Whoops, 92. So what I noticed was that, wow, the land values go way up. They start around 360K. So so this was my test bed to kind of just build some things. I wanted to try to recreate what is called Dennis the Menace Park with what I had in the game. Now, Dennis the Menace Park, to be fair, is basically just a small, like a one tile children's park. Um, but it is near the mono. It is very near the ocean. Um, it has a little like a lagoon kind of thing that runs around three-quarters of it, and there is a cemetery right there around it. So I'm kind of made some elements that looked a little bit like the real situation. And yes, and right next to the Dennis the Menace Park, there is a paddle boat um, um, business. So you can rent paddle boats and stuff. I wanted to put in the Monterey Bay Aquarium and stuff. Monterey Peninsula is famous for golf courses. And there's two on my map. So this was my test bed. And this, I learned a lot about how I wanted to run things. So now I'm going to go back. Now let's go back into, I want to kind of show you some stuff on the construction main screen and stuff. And then I'm going to get into the actual scenario editor and show you all the fine points there. Here we are at the main screen. Now for the construction, here you can choose map size. I chose a large map, okay, and I set my year and stuff, elevation. Now you can have it create maps for you, okay? Or if you hit the generate button, if you hit the complete button, it'll go ahead and just create a plain flat map. Okay, so generate will generate a populated map, and complete without setting anything here will just give you a nice flat map. Of course, you want to set your starting date correct, and whatever the elevation, or I think it's the size and the starting year are the ones that you want to be careful about. So I'm not going to go through the auto map creation. Here I wanted to show you something on the select scenario. Now if you notice, I have my 2001 A-Train Odyssey. Obviously, the title of this scenario was inspired by 2001 A Space Odyssey. And I just couldn't resist, using that because of the A-Train. It just made sense. This little trash can up here, I can get rid of my scenario. Like when I was doing beta testing and stuff like that, and had to make changes, I would create the scenario and then do whatever testing I wanted to do with it. Then I could use the trash can to go ahead and get rid of it, and then I could create a new scenario. Here, just for grins, that is my, these are my main scenario files. Try to keep 2 copies just in case I get stupid and delete one. And so yeah, 89 hours. I put in a lot more than that. It took quite a while to do the map. Sometimes I had to go back. I'd have to undo something, or I'd do something and then I realize, oh, I don't like this, and then go back and redo it and stuff. So basically, this is the the basic starting point. I wanted to show you this because, especially on the this was one of my questions I posed on the Steam forum. I didn't get an answer, but finally I figured it out for myself. So now the next step is going to be going into the scenario editor itself. And I think what I'm going to just do is just go ahead and let's just load it. Normally I hate doing this in videos, is loading a game. You can construct up to 100 buildings at the same time. Yes, and you will run into that limitation. There'll be times when you want to build some buildings and it goes, And you just have to run clock, and sooner or later, the building queue will clear up. So here now, as you can see, I changed the alignment of Dennis the Menace Park and the little lake here and stuff from the test bed. You can see how the Fisherman's Wharf, the double wharf, kind of got made bigger. There's my Monterey Bay Aquarium. And I just, had a little bit of fun putting in a little bit of local flavor. Doc Ricketts' lab is right next to the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Monterey Red's Donuts, yeah, that's my favorite donut shop in the whole world. And it's on Alvarado Avenue in Monterey. So Monterey Alvarado is just named after Alvarado Street. Del Monte Forest, that's a forest in this area, as well as a boulevard. So this is my scenario. Now let's go over here to Fort Ord Central. So as you can see, there's a lot of land. Okay, what I wanted to do was basically start off kind of land rich and money poor. So what I wanted to do was cut down the price of how much you'd have to pay to build track. So after establishing my road grid, as you can see now, how I ran that double road all the way along here. Now, the way I got around roads and stuff for crossing my railroad track area was to go underground. So as you can see, I went and set up. So you can see there's quite an extensive road system underground. Some of the rail you'll build will be underground. So I had a lot of fun. So basically, I laid out my road grid first. I knew where I wanted to place my bullet train, which would be right here, and my airport, which would be right here. And I guess while I'm at it, let's just have a little fun. And okay, let's attract a bullet train. So as you can see now, what I decided to do was build a berm here for my bullet train line. That way I could run little roads underneath the bullet train line instead of trying to run them over the bullet train line, and it probably just was not going to work. So I always had to think of little logistical things to do. So let's see if I come. Whoops. Okay. Let's see. So I've got, yeah, that looks centered right there. Okay. So this is where I'm going to place my bullet train. And now let's look at the airport. Okay. Now the airport. Touch once in the terminal area. Hit the rotate key. Click again here, and then you can confirm the build. So, Junji likes the location. Boy, and when the airport's completed, it definitely makes some changes in the game. There's some empty area here and here. There's you can see you have some line running all the way down to here where the Bell to Los Gatos freight line will run, but you could start running it up to um, this area and then use trucks to haul materials to here to build the bullet train or here to build the airport. Or, conversely, you can sell the land. And actually, what I ended up doing was selling a lot of this land, except for some of this area in here. And then I made a little local train line here because you got a lot of good population here. So that I would have an eighth line and platform to connect from this area to the central area. So let's see what else. Now, up here, these are your standard. This is what you're gonna build for yourself, your trains. The roads, I decided to go with an extremely not big road net. One of the things that always ticked me off in the scenarios was you'd have to early in the game waste money donating to build highway or avenue off the road map and spend billions donating and of course that doesn't it's not profitable. So I decided I wanted a nice extensive road grid so that you're not wasting a bunch of money building roads. Okay. And as you can see, the tracks will run along here. See, there's this space here. You could place a train station, and there's at least 3 spaces for the building. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 3 spaces for the building, because you may want to build a bigger train station, and then usually I would have 4 spaces for either like an apartment 4. Those are my favorites for building near a train station. Apartment 4s, 2 spaces. You could also build bus stops and then run some buses around for improving development or even commercial. So as you can see, it's like a maze. Okay. Now I stopped here, but that doesn't mean that you can't run a train line down to here and then off the map to Los Gatos, like I did, with some train stations and stuff. What I wanted now, this is mainly a very flat map. I love flat maps because then you maximize the amount of space available for building buildings, roads, rail lines, things like that. You can see that I've got a couple of lines running. Okay, I got like basically 3 lines. These 2 are the same line, it's just that they're different segments. Here, you'll want to make a second segment here and a second segment here to cut down on the travel time. Let's come back here. You can see that I set all the trains up. I set loop times. I love being more formal about it. That way I can wake a train up at a certain time and then like for 10 minutes and then it loads passengers before it actually starts running. If you just do the turn it on and it starts running, It doesn't pick up passengers on the first stop, so that's kind of lame. And I got a couple of buses that I put in here, 4 buses, and they're all nice and timed. So unlike the scenarios in the game, where the scenario designers just did a pathetic job of setting up buses and trains, I have set them up so that they work real nice and they're timed, especially the 2 trains for one line, so that they don't go bump in the night or the daytime. So let us take a look. Now, subsidiaries. This is where you can build your own. Okay? So I built Digital Research. And yes, this was an actual real company back in the day. They made DR-DOS and then DR Windows. IBM went to Digital Research first to ask for an operating system. The owner turned them down. So then they went to Bill Gates, and the rest is history. Sadly, when the owner of Digital Research passed away, the company just died. But I actually met the guy and knew the guy. I worked at Monterey Bay Computer Works, and so I had dealings with the guy and stuff, and even went over and helped his wife setting up his own kind of books and stuff. And the Pebble Beach Estates, okay, Pebble Beach is a large gated community near Carmel, in between Carmel and Monterey. Very exclusive. Cost you about, let's see, last time I did the 17-mile drive was about $20. And residents can get in for free, or if you're visiting a resident, you can get in for free, the locals. But for the tourists, yeah, it's at least $20 and could be 30 by now. But that's to keep the riffraff out. Okay, so let us take a look here now. So yeah, I laid out most of the. I bought the land first for the company while it was still very cheap. Then I started to put in. Well, the first thing I did. Here's that beautiful ski resort. Okay, this is your main ski resort, and then there's 1, 2, 3 different ski slopes that you can add onto it. Okay, and as you can see. I had the train just stop here. I ended up moving the train station over three spaces, so that I put it over here. And then what I did is I ran so that I had enough room to run under the ski resort, under the mountain, and then where I could pop it back out and then run it off the map. So I actually added a little bit from there. But yeah, I had to kind of like visualize where I wanted to place things all over the map. Okay. So once I figured out what cities, now why did I choose, let's see, let's go here and let's look at the region settings. Here you can see I've got basically 8 cities. Okay. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or wait a minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's 2, 5, 7. So I got a whole bunch of cities here. So the main ones I wanted is the reason I picked all of these cities is that I've lived in these California cities at one point or another. Lived in Monterey, lived on Fort Ord as a kid, took my basic training at Fort Ord. So yeah. Salinas, this is where I currently live. Carmel, I've lived in Carmel. Turlock, I went to college in Turlock. It's in the Central Valley, just south of Modesto. Bell is in kind of like near central Los Angeles. So it's a small town. And then I lived in San Francisco. I've lived in Oakland. I've lived in Long Beach and Los Gatos. Los Gatos is kind of like a nice bedroom community to the west of San Jose, up in the hills. Very beautiful. Now let's come back here. Let's look at landforming. Okay, I mean this is a very basic kind of stuff. Uh, you can, as you can see, kind of play around with it. Oops. See, I'm running into things where I can't. Yeah, there I'm building up. So you can build up. You can build down. I guess I need to build smaller. Okay, so you can build down. And if you build down enough, okay, so you see that brown? Now if I pop back out, there should be water. Okay, so there's how you create water. And of course, flat, you can flatten things out a little bit. So real simple, basic commands. I did not want to go hog wild on this stuff. Obviously, I can play around. I'm not going to save. Now, let's look at edit. This is where you're going to do a lot of your stuff. Now, almost all of the buildings that aren't going to be your companies are going to be built right here. You've got different kind of terrain types you can build, ponds and stuff. Seaside, you've got different kinds of beach area. And you can see that, whoopsie, that I did that right there. I didn't use reefs. I just figured that was a little too esoteric. I didn't want to fool with mountains. Manufacturing. This is a real... so let's look at rivers, okay? What you want to do is you're going to want to do consecutive. And then you want to kind of go like here to, whoops. There we go. Maybe I'll do area. Okay. Now, the rivers are real tricky. So what I'd have to do is, as you can see, play around and to connect them. Okay, so rivers can be a little bit finicky, and then maybe if you want to do something like that. So rivers tend to be a little pain in the behind to fix up. You can see here that I did embankments. Okay, right here. So what I had to do was kind of, I actually had it up to about here, but when I was doing one of my beta tests, it built embankments into the area where I wanted to place my trade port, and I couldn't place my trade port. It did the same thing over here in Monterey with the area here for the passenger ship terminal. No problem. I could build it. Could build embankments in front of the area for the passenger ship terminal. No problem. I could build it anyway. So there are all kinds of things that you can do. Different kind of embankments. This road surface is this area right here, the gray. Now, agriculture and forests. You have all kinds of different things. I made extensive use of the greenhouses community garden. Obviously, I didn't play around with forests much, although I did like the cherry forest, sakura, as they say in Japan. Paddy fields, and I love the paddy field art. Unfortunately, it doesn't. It's not the right time of year to show me the field art, but when it gets to be summer, it looks pretty cool. Industrial, I had a lot of fun with, trying to just place industrial all over the place, like here in Seaside. Uh, this is kind of like my rendition of Moss Landing's power plant. And actually, it used to be an oil-powered plant right on the coast, right on the water almost, and right across the street from the water. And now it's a battery plant, a battery power plant. Uh, and a couple of months ago, it caught on fire, and whoo, boy, it burned for quite a while, and really pissed off the people who live around there. But what I tried to do was just come up and use the various different types of different buildings to create a kind of an interesting, like an industrial area. See, there's like what I would say is Moss Landing. Got to be careful of this little storage house right here, because this warehouse will steal materials from over here. Um, so you have to be a bit careful. And I'm not sure, I don't think these do because I don't place the material warehouses close enough. So let's get back. So industrial. So you've got all kinds of things. See, different kinds of factories, uh, different kinds of power plants, like the thermal, the hydroelectric. I think I've got one right here that I tried to make. Just a little kind of a test area. And then I had a lot of fun with making the water on top of like the hill and stuff. And yeah, I mean, I had fun with the farms. And then there's some additional facilities that I, sprinkled around. Commercial, all kinds of little stores. Okay, more little stores, lots more little stores. Here you have a couple of like Japanese style kind of restaurants, underpass stores. When you build like elevated trains or like the bullet train, you can pop these little underpass stores under there. I used parking lot independence because I didn't want parking lots to be tied to specific buildings. Parking lot attached means that they'll be attached to a specific building, and if the building gets deleted, then the parking lot gets deleted. So plenty of different kinds of parking lots. Now we have some eateries, so some various kinds of eateries, and this one just happens to be kind of like, two by two instead of just one by one. Retail, lots of different retail things. Hardware store is one of the best for subsidies, where you're getting the land subsidy. That's 6 tiles right there, instead of say 4 tiles like the electronics store. And then there's this kind of cute little roadside station that I've placed in a couple of places. Department stores, okay, that's one of my favorites. And there's the shopping mall main, and then you have an annex that you can add on to. Right here. So let's take a look at. So there's that annex. Whoopsie, right there. Whoops. Let's see if I just. Okay. And the main shopping mall. Well, don't worry, because I don't have to worry about screwing things up because I'm not saving. Lodgings. Same thing. We've got some little lodging, and then we've got some very big lodging and stuff. Okay. And of course, like the resort hotel. Nightlife buildings. You see a lot of these in on the map. Okay, so I had fun with these little nightlife buildings. Office buildings. This is like one of my favorites. This also was another one of my favorites because it's 1 square wide. And while I'm here, Let me just have a little fun. Whoops. It's rotated. Okay. And now when I want to build it, it doesn't want to build. Okay. But you can build some commercial along by the Dodger Stadium here. That's really good money makers. Some low-rise buildings, some smaller ones, little buildings. Mid-rise. This is one of my favorites as well. That is interesting that I can't build there for some odd reason. Oh, yeah. So now here's the high-rise buildings. So you've got some much bigger buildings now. Okay, some are 4x4. So, it just, you have to kind of go through. Some have bigger footprints. Strange that it doesn't want to build. And then, of course, you got a couple of skyscrapers. And, of course, when I want to show it, oh, hey, there it goes. So as you can see, there's quite a few different kinds of skyscrapers. Recreational is kind of nice. It's broken up into categories. Got all kinds of things here to play with. The city have different kinds of things for the cities, like the Science Museum, a museum, the exhibition hall, the aquarium. Nature, you've got a bunch of nature that I tried to play with. One thing I couldn't figure out was where do I place the viewing platform? I thought it might have been somewhere around. I guess it might be with the nature park. I'm not too sure. The zoo. So you've got the zoo proper, but you've also got some additional stuff that you normally don't see when you're in the scenario. So here's the amusement park, and it gives me a whole bunch of different things that I can add to the amusement park, which I did. Different kinds of sports facilities, and then the tennis grounds, and then you can build tennis courts alongside it. The golf course has an addition to it. You can see the ski resort here, and then you can see ski course 1, 2, and 3. So lots of different things, and of course the towers. Then we got the public. So we have like the agricultural cooperative was something that I used, as well as the fishing harbor, which is over here. And one thing you have to be careful about is the trade port will reduce the fishing harbor production. So I ended up having to move this one over 1 or 2 spaces, and then kind of move things over here so that I can build that trade port so that it'll basically run from the edge of the building here to that street right there. Have some structures here, like that roadside tree too. That's one I used around the Fort Ord Memorial. But just little things. You can see that I was, like in here, I was building the wharf things. Then you have breakwaters. Now here's something that it took me a while to figure this out. Let's see. So let's just go here, and let's turn it around. So I'll go here. But as you can see, the boats all go one way. Now, and if I place it here, you notice how it just reverts. Now you can see how it's. I had to basically work from the sea to the shore to place these boats on opposite sides of the breakwater. So this was tricky. This was easy. and little like seaweed farms over here and stuff, and a little observation deck. Just kind of, just wanted to have a little bit of fun with all these different little things. Public ceremonies. I basically no churches and temples or shrines on this map. It's a secular map. Some green spaces, parks, pond, water fountain, little things to place around. Now the historic sites. Oh no, yeah, it's kind of like little tourist attraction, but not much. Schools. Okay, there's your different schools, municipal. You have different things that you can build, like that big race course. You have large shrines. You have large temples. I didn't use any of those. The reconstructed castle, this is what I used to build the Fort Ord Memorial. And then conservation facilities, also like these traditional villages and houses, I used a little bit of. Now, this is like it says, a 5-star tourist appeal. And you could have a 3-star, and you could have a 1-star or 2-star. Okay, but only one of these can be active at any one time. So as right here, when you're actually running the game, this is the only one that will really generate tourist appeal. The others will just kind of be kind of wimpy. So I guess that's going to show all of the edit function. Ah, and as you can see, boy, it loves to play around with the tourist things. Now let's look at game settings. So basic settings. Okay. Enough for a scenario title. I'm the creator. It basically doesn't give you much space to put a name in and stuff like a first and last name. I bumped up the employee satisfaction from 40 to 75 so that the employees would kind of pump things up as far as the business goes. I ended up going with the scenario parameter value of 100 points after I put in a couple of scenarios that actually will give you some money. Okay? And just a whole bunch of stuff. Now here, as you can see, I turned off lumber, oil, and coal. I just did not want to fool around with depletable resources. Just wasn't worth it. Completion conditions. Okay, so these are the little victory conditions. So we can go in and add all kinds of different ones. You know, I had one for 1 million population when the starting population I had 804,000, but I had to cut that way back. So I had to take out the population condition. But all kinds of different ones. Now, why did I choose these 4 particular ones? All of these will score you a STEAM achievement. So basically, these are just kind of tied to the STEAM achievement. Now, as you can see, that international trade port, even on the easy level, I tried to make it, force it to happen very quickly. The standard and expert are the same 1 year because I don't want the program to build embankments in front of the trade port, and then you can't build the trade port and you're screwed. Okay, so build the trade port soon. The bullet train service is an achievement, and the airport. You can start both of these building in the 3rd year, and then the surplus 10 years in a row. I wanted this to be kind of like what I'd like to think of as a Tootsie Pop or Tootsie Roll scenario. It lasts a long, long time. For those of you who are familiar with Tootsie Pops, you'll and are old like me, you'll remember the old ad jingo song. So completion conditions. Now the region settings. This is where, and as you can see, the cities aren't exactly squared up. And I tried to make Fort Ord kind of the big area. It's basically four different little cities that are made up into one. Monterey, Seaside, Salinas, Belle, Turlock, Carmel are all two basic cities. So in other words, there were 16 cities on the map, 4 rows of four. And then I boiled it down to so that there's 2, 4, 6, 7 cities on the map. And I never did auto develop. I never did play with that. Okay. Scenarios. I don't know why they call this scenarios when they really are like scenes. Kind of like if you think of scenes in a movie. So I took the original one that they did, and I kind of like plugged in this $CEO and $CO so that I actually will address you by name and welcome you to the company. And this will, whatever you name your CEO or your company, that'll pop up there. I did a little bit more interesting ones. Here, this is called a command, and it's map movement. Okay, notice that it's move location, so it moves to this location, which is basically that Monument 3 right there. And I did instant jump. Okay, I don't know why they went scroll. And oh man, I'll tell you, in all those original scenarios, I hated the time wasted scrolling around the map from one place to another. So I did instant jump. You know, yeah, I just did not want to horse around wasting people's time with that boring scroll. And then I could just add in different text, jump to a different spot, okay, and then add in new text until I got there. So I made all these scenes up, and then you get down to, come back to each character, okay, has its own little spiel. Some characters have a little more spiel than others, and a few more scenes. But some of them, I just wanted to really give you a real good idea right up front. And all of these pop in the beginning of the scenario before you get started. I hated having the suggestions, dragged out for days or weeks from the original scenarios. This was one, complete a trade port. So when the trade port's complete, it will give you 1 billion Japanese yen as a reward that's non-taxable. It's called capital contribution. Okay? So let's just see, and then the conditions and the edit. So as you can see on the commands, oh yeah, increase capital right there. That's the one. So that's one. You could have up to 5 billion. Now, the reason that I did the trade port and the airport is that these aren't yours. You notice I didn't do the bullet train. The bullet train will become yours and you will make money off the bullet train. These two, you don't make money. The airport will show that you do a 5 billion yen donation. Okay? And so I just kind of like wanted to. It was something that was in the Resort Reborn scenario once for I guess if you answered the question yes to building an expensive department store, it would give you like 4 billion yen. And so you always answer yes. And I always would end up just building the ones I wasn't sure about if it would check or not, but yeah, it doesn't check. So think I've got everything squared away. Now, like I said, I started this scenario off originally with 804,000, and the population shrank down to about 570 before bouncing back up to, after 10 years, about 658. So in the second one, I replaced a lot of the high-end residential with commercial and some recreational. Because what I needed to do was cut down the population since it was going to shrink and increase my commercial expense. And so I whacked it down to 568,000. And then on the next beta test that I did with at 568 starting, it dropped that the population will drop down to 420,000. And I just figured, I wasn't going to keep excuse me, cutting the population because it's always going to shrink. Now, when I was playing the Resort Reborn scenario in the game, I did notice a population drop, but at the time I was just playing, didn't really worry about it too much. But now that I'm doing scenario design, yeah, I wanted to make it more spiffy. So I have a feeling that one of the things that's really sad is this overpowered ski resort. If this wasn't so overpowered, didn't overpower the Monument 3, because as soon as the airport is built, completed, it kind of changes the order of the tourist attractions. You can see how Monument 3 is now the top one, the Stadium 2, the race course is third, and then Stadium 3 is fourth. What'll happen is that Stadium 2 will tend to pop up to the top, and the Monument 3 might fall down to as far as fourth. Now, I did find out that if I built a bigger rail station, when I was building things, I never envisioned this to be like such a highly developed tourist attraction. Now, when I first started, I did my standard building of these high-rise buildings. You notice now over on the right, you don't see any high-rise buildings because the first time when I was building all these high-rise buildings next to this, all of a sudden it dropped Monument 3 off the list of 4 and popped the ski resort in. So this is the station, this Fort Ord Memorial, that you want to build up to. And let's go to like a station building 1. This is, so I've got 3 of these on the map, in the center. And then everything else that I want to increase, I used the station building 1. So I obviously spent hundreds of hours thinking through how to do this. I mean, I started with a piece of plain old graph paper, with the blue lines on the white paper, and I basically divvied up the 16 sections, and then figured out how I wanted to make my cities and stuff. So there was a bit of planning that went into thinking through how I want to do this before I did it. Uh, it would be nice to see other people. I'm going to upload this scenario to the workshop so that everybody will be able to enjoy this scenario and my handiwork. I have done professional scenario design for other games in the past, Operational Art of War, East Front, West Front, back in the days of Matrix games. I mean, Talonsoft Games, which has now Matrix Games. So yeah, I just decided, I didn't like the wimpy scenarios in the game, so I decided to make my own. And I hope that more people will decide to make their own and post them up to the workshop. So I hope that you found this video informational and entertaining, and that you'll want to give it a try as far as scenario design goes.